They
Day and
never
welcome
did a
to the
damn thing
UFC
for me
244
until
Media
I started
Conference
sending
Call.
people out.
Today's call is being
Out of it.
recorded. At this time, for opening remarks and introductions, I would like to turn the call over to Chris Costello. Please go ahead.
Thanks, Leanne. Welcome, everybody, to the UFC 244 Media Conference Call. UFC 244 takes place this Saturday, November 2nd, from Madison Square Garden as the UFC holds its 500th event with the BMF title on the line. The event airs live on ESPN Plus pay-per-view. Today's call will feature the athletes competing in the 170-pound main event, Jorge Masvidal and Nate Diaz. Jorge will join us now, then Nate at the bottom of the hour. And with that, we can open up the questions for Jorge, Leanne.
Well, I'm going to make a
Thank you,
statement real quick before the questions get asked real quick. Is class in session? Is everybody listening? Hello? The teacher's talking. Everybody listening? I'm going to take that as a yes. If people start asking me, if I get one question about a so-and-so this or number 37 in the world, I will just hang up and go about my day. I don't want no questions regarding other people. I got a main event to take care of. The media's always asking me about so-and-so from another planet. I don't care. One chance only. So don't mess it up for your teammates and co-workers. Don't ask no stupid questions because the interview's over. I got shit to do. Let's go.
If you'd like to ask a question, please signal by pressing star 1 on your telephone keypad. If you're using a speakerphone, please make sure your mute function is turned off to allow your signal to reach our equipment. Again, please press star 1 to ask a question.
No questions. Good. This is a good one. All right. Meeting's adjourned. Everybody have a great day. Give them another minute to get their stuff together, and then we got things to do. Damn right. Always got the.
Okay, Leanne, we are good to start with Smart again.
And we'll take our first question from Damon Martin with MMAfighting.com.
Hey, Jorge, thanks for taking the time. I know the pressure's on. I'll open with this Nate Diaz specific question, which was all the craziness that happened last week. It really didn't affect you because you weren't involved in that whole situation. But what was your mindset when, like, over that 24-hour period, we weren't sure if the fight was happening and you were kind of stuck in limbo? Like, did you change anything or to deal with anything, or did you just kind of go about your business?
Well, it was longer than 24 hours, I think, the totality of it. So by like day number 2, anxiety hit, and about 2 pizzas later and hot fries and other things that I shouldn't have put in my body, the coaching staff got a hold of me and they were able to calm the anxiety down, and we went about business. But, yeah, if I get anxiety or depression, things like that, I take to eating. So they stopped me on my tracks, but we're all good. Everything's good, ready to go.
Yeah. Obviously, your last 2 fights, you've had a couple of huge knockouts. Now, you've been a veteran. You've been around the sport and picked up a lot of big wins during your career. But I know I've spoken to you in the past about the frustration you dealt with when you had split decisions and close decisions and things like that. What do you feel like has been the biggest change in your mentality or your training with these past couple of fights as you go into this Nate Diaz fight where you've kind of got this killer instinct where you're going out there and really, putting guys away that way and no longer, getting the judges involved?
Well, it's on the mindset. I got the book coming out. It's coming out not yet, but it's going to come out soon. It's going to be everywhere, man. You can get it at gas stations, Barnes and Noble, Toys R Us, anywhere it's going to be at. And that's going to dictate the mindset. On the physical side, we can't talk about that too much because it's like the secret sauce preparation, what I do and how I prepare and stuff. It's just I looked at my whole career in 15 years and I saw things that went really, really well for me in certain training camps when I did them. And I saw things that were maybe incredibly tough or we thought were doing well, but the actual results were maybe me being flat or things like that. So we got everything that actually worked, amplified it to the max, and things that didn't work, cut them. Maybe I just do them like off camp. So it was just I got one of those guys that, and I'm not joking about this, like those analytic guys for Google that come in and see where a company's doing good and bad. We got one of those dudes, brought him into the camp, gave him all the data, and that's what we've been doing, man. So I can't get too much into it either because I spent a lot of money paying that dude things. But, yeah, man, we're kicking ass.
We all know how tough Nate Diaz is. Jorge obviously has been around the sport for a long time, fought everybody, and he's a very good guy. And he's been a really tough guy to put away. Outside of maybe that Josh Thompson fight, it's the only one I can think of over, the last however many years he's actually, been stopped in a fight. Do you believe, looking at this fight, that ability to put him away, but are you also prepared for the fact that this may go deep, 25 minutes, 5 rounds, hard rounds with a guy who is notoriously hard to put away?
Well, I'll answer you 2 questions. I'm that dude that pops cherries. His cherry has been popped already, but I'm that dude that pops cherries. This dirty motherfucker right here is popping cherries. Ben Askren had never been knocked out when I got a hold of him. The dude from England had never been knocked out when I got a hold of him, and the list goes on and on. If you look through my career, I put an end to a lot of guys, never been knocked out, never been stopped. So that another tough guy to knock out, or a guy that's never been knocked out, I don't care about him. I never care about my opponent, especially now. I care about Gamebred, and Gamebred is only going for the off button. That's the only thing I'm trying to do, is take this guy out of consciousness for a while. That's my job. That's entertainment. That's the only way I can get the bills paid. Let me tell you something. I did this sport for so long, and if you look at some of my masterpieces that I painted in the past, people didn't appreciate shit of it. They could care less whether it was a decision I won or lost. They didn't give a damn. All they want to see is pure violence, me put people to sleep in a very bad way. And that's all I'm going to do. And I understand my role in this life and my job. It's just to hurt people and get them out of there. They don't want to see a guy that could fight going backwards and they could rally up a lot of points and cut and bruise somebody and knock them down. No, they want to see me leaving guys in the stretcher. Cool. I'm in.
Thanks, Jorge. I appreciate it.
And our next question comes from Mark Raimondi with ESPN.
Hey, George. How's it going, man?
Good.
So,
and from now on, to all the classmates in session, Mr. Masvidal will be appreciated. Yeah, I would like Mr. Masvidal, please. Mr. Masvidal. And I'm older than a lot of you guys.
Here. Mr. Masvidal, when was the first time you actually heard about Nate's situation last week? Was it just a tweet that he sent out?
Yeah, it was a tweet that I sent out, and I got I got immediately 15 text messages. And not that many people even got my number, which is what fucking bothers me. So I got to switch my number again after this fight. Yeah, man, it was fucking nuts, I was like, what the fuck now? But that's Photoshopped, And then I digged a little harder, and it wasn't Photoshopped. And then, fucking a little bit of anxiety came. Not anxiety in the sense that I thought Nate was a cheater, because I never thought that he was a cheater. Just that, just the uncertainty of man, they might pull my fight because some lab screw up, because some fucking weird ass shit, I don't want to diss on USADA either, because I think they've cleaned up a lot of the sport, but it's not 100% right yet, So that uncertainty gave me tremendous anxiety, and I deal with anxiety by eating. So fucking your boy got fat, man.
But you're not gonna miss weight, right, on Friday?
My brother, I never missed weight in my whole career, and if I didn't miss it at 155 pounds, you better believe I'm not missing now. The biggest night of my fucking career, there's not a chance, my brother.
How long did you go before, not knowing the fight would be on or
not? I don't know. It felt like 2 days almost, I was calling Hunter from the UFC. I was calling my manager. A lot of people got a fucking earful,
And are you confident right now, as we speak, that the fight is going to happen on Saturday?
Yeah, that's mine, but yeah, but am I confident the fight's gonna happen on Saturday?
Yeah. Mhm.
Well, shit, Nate's here. I'm here. USADA cleared him. I mean, snap, man. Hell yeah! Don't be putting that bad juju out there. Hell yeah! What's your name? I'm gonna find you, man. Don't put that bad juju out there, man.
I'll see you on Wednesday, Mr. Masvidal. I appreciate it, man. Thank you.
And our next question comes from Justin Barrasso with Sports Illustrated.
Thank you for the chance to connect. Obviously, you need to stay hungry and focused until Saturday. But the big kick.
Mr. Masvidal, please. I'll be addressed as Mr. Masvidal. I don't want to. There we go.
Obviously, you need to stay hungry and focused Saturday. But to look at the big picture, you're someone who grew up in Miami, and you've been fighting professionally since 2003. On a personal level, what does it mean for you to main event a show at Madison Square Garden?
On a personal level, it's amazing. And I want to touch ground on this real quick. New York City, New York, the whole state adopted me way before a lot of other cities. They found out about me a long time ago, and I've always got a great feedback from the public here, from the fans here. an amazing feedback. You know, New York is ahead on a lot of things, so they were kind of involved with MMA. They were the last state to get sanctioned and stuff, but they've always backed me up, man, and took me as one of the old California as well. I got a huge fan base as well there, you know, and there's no surprise, you know, but I love it, man. I can't believe it that the first pay-per-view I'm headlining is in New York. It kind of makes sense, because one of the major cities to really get behind me, you know, was New York. So I love it. I'm here. I thank the city for welcoming me, because if they didn't want me here, I wouldn't be here, you know. So, man, I'm just glad the city's behind me on this one.
And I know you said that your job is to hurt people and fight people, but there's a lot of inspiration. I mean, you've been fighting for a long time. You've always believed in your work. Self-doubt can cripple. It doesn't matter what field it is, whether it's mixed martial arts or the workforce. I think there's some inspiration behind your story too, behind your name, how you fought to make it to this level. Again, all the focus is on the fight on Saturday, but again, does that emotional value add something to you, a different element to this fight for you as well?
Say that last part again. You're breaking up a little bit.
Because the fact that, again, what it means for your family name, how hard you've worked, the inspiration you've given to other people to keep fighting. I know you said you're a fighter and your focus is hurting people, not necessarily inspiring, but you've been able to do both in your career. What does it mean to you to have the chance to inspire others?
Well, on the hurting side, I'm not trying to hurt nobody other than the opponent ahead of me, because that's the entertainment and inspiration I bring to the table. But every once in a while, I bump into somebody to see my journey from the very, very bottom. I mean, it doesn't get no more humbling than my experience from where I started at to where I'm at. As long as I've been competing, as many as so-called losses I've had, and I just kept on trucking. As my coach says, put the hard hat on and get to work, Mr. Mike Brown, and that's what I've been doing for 16 years, man. I just put that hard hat on and get to work. Don't care what happens, injuries, opponents backing out, going to other countries last minute notice, not getting decisions to go my way, though I outstruck, outgrappled, and kicked somebody's ass, and just saying to myself, man, I'm just gonna keep doing this till I am at the very, very top. So every once in a while I run into somebody that's seen that journey, and man, it could almost bring tears to my eyes, man, if I was allowed to cry. You know, when you tell me these things and how they've seen my journey and it's motivated them to go other places. You know, I love to hear that, man. Because when I first started, I didn't think I'd be motivating people to bring out the best of them. But, you know, competition a lot of times can bring out the best in people, you know.
It has brought up the best in you, too. My last question, thank you again. On the title, the addition of the title, the fight doesn't need it because the fight stands alone in and by itself. But it adds another element to this fight of excitement. The Rock obviously involved, too. What is that? Does that mean anything to you, the fact that Dwayne Johnson wanted to be involved and wanted to hand out the title at the end of this fight?
No, it's definitely nuts, man. The Rock is an action star, man, and I've met him before in the past. He's a good dude. We met once in person at American Top Team. Dan Lambert had flown him out, and he met a couple of his fighters back then. This was maybe like 5-6 years ago, and I just thought he didn't know who the hell I was, and he was just a cool person. That was, I think, the coolest thing, that he was just such a down-to-earth person, being who he was back then. And I was basically virtually unknown. You know, I was fighting already in the UFC, but nobody knew who the hell I was, you know. And he treated me with the utmost respect, and I think that to me is amazing, you know.
Amazing. Good luck on Saturday. Thank you so much for the time.
Yeah. So, yes, sir.
And our next question comes from Chad Dundas with The Athletic.
Hey, Mr. Masvidal. Just one question for you today. During the lead up to this fight, you and Nate Diaz have both been very respectful toward each other. Can you tell me what it is specifically about Nate that has earned your respect? And then what is it about you that you think he respects as well?
I think it just comes down to we both fight, and we're dogs in that cage. But at the same time, we see the bullshit, and we don't want to play in the bullshit. You're not going to tell me jump or wear a suit or do this. I'm going to do what the F I feel like and when I want to do it. It's probably the reason it's taken me so long to get the UFC to truly get behind me. And on the same token, he's been the same dude from his side of the country, you know, doing his thing his own way. And we both see it, and we can salute each other. You know, we're going to go to war and everything, but no matter what happens, I got nothing but praise and admiration for Nate, you know. I like what he's done and how he's carried himself, you know. So hell yeah, man. Kudos to him. You know, now let's get this fight shit going on.
Thanks.
And our next question comes from Sean Ross Sapp with Fightful.
Hey, Mr. Masvidal, thanks for the time. Dana White has said that this title wouldn't be something that would be defended, but is it something that you would want to defend anyway, even beyond Nate Diaz?
I had to sit down with my management group and see what they want me to do, you know. Because if Dana and these people are saying it's just a one-time thing, it's a one-time thing, I might be defending it against, you know, somebody that could bring that type of hype back out. You know, we'll have that title sitting there. You know, maybe King Kong, maybe Godzilla. I don't know, one of these superstars. I won't give punks in my division, not on my division, because there's some studs, there's some killers in my division. But I don't even want to mention guys' names and make them famous. But there's a lot of guys that I wouldn't give them a shot because they're just punks, man, and they fight like crotch snippers that they are. So they wouldn't get a chance to even compete for that belt, man. Because you got to be a bad motherfucker to compete for the belt, right? We're in agreement on that at least.
Yeah, and have you had any input on the title or?
Ain't too many.
Oh, sorry.
No, I haven't had any input. And there isn't too many bad motherfuckers at my division. There is some, but there just isn't that many, you know, as many as people think at least.
Speaking of people in your division, what did you think of Ben Askren's loss this past weekend?
Well, you could wait up, my brother. You could jeopardize this interview for everybody. I clearly said I don't want to be answering no questions about nobody.
Apologies.
Get all upset. They're gonna get all upset at you. We're not making nobody famous. This will be the last. Well, how do you say this? The last. What's the word I'm looking for? The last warning, my brother. You know, class is in session. Let's pay attention now.
Thank you.
You got it.
And as a reminder, that is star one to ask a question. Our next question will come from Nolan Kind with MMA Junkie.
Hey, thanks for joining us today, Mr. Masvidal. Have you had the chance to be able to see the belt yet? Have you got a preview, or the title itself, will it be the first time that you see it will be in the cage on Saturday?
No, sir. I haven't seen anything of the belt. I haven't seen nothing, man. To tell you the truth, not even like a sneak peek or nothing. I mean, I got spies everywhere, and nobody's even able to give me even like a screenshot or a quick pic of the thing. Nothing, man. I have absolutely no idea what this video could look, what this belt could look like.
Thanks, appreciate it.
And our next question comes from Steven Morocco with MMAfighting.com.
Hey, Mr. Masvidal, you mentioned earlier in the call that you think that some things could be improved in the whole process with USADA in situations like this. What specifically do you think could be improved?
We're gonna need a long conversation about it. But let me make this clear. I think USADA has moved my sport forward in ways that I couldn't have imagined. There was a time already where I was getting fed up with what was going on with the substance abuse, and they've chopped down a lot of it. You know, can it be tighter and better? Yes, but I'm also in that sense, I'm like you know, I'm a very intense individual. I just always think it could be better and better and better. You know, I could sit down with USADA and give them like my opinions on it, but I want to say they've done a great job. You know, guys like me are shining because of USADA now. You know, because there was a time where everybody was looking like Captain America and Wolverine, and the guys that are natural, you know, weren't shining as much. I'm able to send these people into outer orbit now because the system is at a much more of a playing field. I want to give big kudos to USADA. Can it be better? Yeah, it could be better.
Did you have any communication with them during this whole episode?
I mean, just my regular testing and stuff that I tested, but no, I don't have no communications with them and stuff.
Were there ever any alternate scenarios planned or proposed to you when this was kind of all up in the air, as far as what would happen at UFC 244 or rescheduling another opponent, anything like that?
I mean, they were offering me some heavyweights from boxing and stuff that they thought were some bad motherfuckers, and I was like, you know what, let's just do it, man. You know, bare knuckle, whatever it is, let's just go. You know, I was just gonna say yes to whatever, as long as my fees were met. Anybody could have got that ass whooping as long as my fees were met, you know. But you know, obviously I'm not a cheap acquisition, so you know. But now we weren't too worried. We knew Nate Diaz's camp and stuff would get everything situated, and it pulled through just the way it did.
And then last question, you mentioned hiring an analytics guy to help you in your camp. Can you talk a little bit more about what exactly he or she did?
No, not for the camp, just for the whole process of coming back and scheduling camps, we had somebody that could look into numbers real well, because I'm not a mathematician. I could defend myself in the math progress, but I'm not no mathematician. So we just had somebody just calculating up certain things that did good and bad, and we just amplified them, and that's it, man, without getting too much into it. Besides my amazing coaching staff that I had, it's just numbers, man. It's just numbers, literally. And we just put those things together and made it work.
Gotcha. Thanks very much. Looking forward to the fight.
So, yes, sir.
And our next question comes from Spencer Kite with UFC.com.
Good afternoon, Mr. Masvidal. It's good to speak with you again. You mentioned earlier that Nate's a real one, that Nate's a dog just like yourself. First part is what's it mean to garner that respect from a guy like Nate, have him call you out face to face, as it were, after that last performance, and kind of build on that respect and admiration that I know and I think everybody on this call knows you carry throughout kind of the MMA world with your peers.
Oh, thank you, my brother, for that. Man, it's awesome, man. Like I've said, just like him stepping in short notice against Conor when Conor was like undefeated, and it takes a lot, just the short notice part. That's like, oh man, I gotta take this fight short notice. Damn, and then they say this guy is the biggest beast, and this guy wasn't phased at all. From what I heard, he was like in Mexico partying and stuff, and then took the fight like in 10 days notice, 2 weeks notice. I don't remember the exact numbers on that. I could be way off, but I know it was short notice as hell, So that to me was like, hell yeah, bro. This is a dude I definitely want to scrap with, just because of the mindset. He's always betting on himself, and man, fuck, I love that shit. I love to compete against those guys. That's what I'm trying to fight, is those dudes right there.
And you mentioned when you were speaking about The Rock that you were a guy that people didn't know. He didn't know who you were. You were already in the UFC. What's it mean for you, for that public perception and that mainstream perception, to have caught up now to where kind of the hardcore fans have always known that Jorge Masvidal is a real one, to have more and more people and be getting this chance to headline a pay-per-view at Madison Square Garden?
Oh, it's amazing in that sense, because I do got the hardcores behind me, but you got the purists. Only the purists of the purists have been watching me since Japan, since, man, Strike Force, since all these events that are no longer with us, that are defunct already, that your boy traveled through those events and made waves. It's crazy that I had the hardcores, and then, in 1 year I brought in the casuals. And then it's funny to see like a casual say that I'm an overnight hit. And then sometimes I read the comments, I just watch him get chewed up by all my fans that have been there forever. Like, are you a fucking idiot? This guy's been fighting for 16 years, you moron. So it's awesome, man. But it also makes bigger paychecks, So that's one thing that's amazing about it. I love it. I love that I'm able to provide for my family and keep doing what I do. The people that have been here with me from the start, they're getting taken care of real well as well. I'm going to make sure they never have to work after I'm done fighting, because I'm going to bring in these big checks, So let's get this money.
And last one for me, as you mentioned, the anxiety kicked in when they sent out that tweet, and when the anxiety kicks in, you turn to food. What'd you get into? How big of a feast did you have?
I didn't get to have that much of a feast because I live with my dad, and my dad, he's a spy for the coaches and shit. So he started placing phone calls once I was 2 pieces in, And I mean, at the time I was pissed, but thank goodness, because the cavalry showed up and they were able to restrain me and take credit cards away and shut down Uber Eats and shit,
Sounds good. I appreciate it. All the best this weekend.
You got it, sir.
And our next question comes from Anir Bond with Sportskeeda.
Hey, Mr. Masvidal, thanks for taking the time to do this. So 2019 has been really amazing for you with 2 big knockouts. So what is your mindset like heading into this fight?
Big knockout. Duh. Come on, my brother. I want to just turn the lights off on somebody, and that's all I want to do. That's the only way to create headlines in my sport and get the biggest paychecks possible, is to hit the off button on individuals, and that's all I will be looking to do November 2nd.
And what motivated you in 2019 to jump into the spotlight the way you have?
I didn't, I was looking back at my career, which up till 2019 wasn't a bad one. I think a lot of people would be more than confirmed to have done half of what I had done up to that point. But I was nowhere near done. I couldn't close a chapter on my career like that without certain things getting accomplished. And everything that I've done this year, I've basically called it in advance to those nearby enough to hear me out, you know. So ain't nothing by coincidence, ain't nothing by this or that. It's all hard work, dedication, sacrifice, tears of blood, you know, things like that. So I've seen a lot of this was going to happen beforehand, and I know how this storybook ends. You know, I know when I close the book on this chapter of my life, I know where I'll be sitting at.
And finally, my last question, what is the significance of the BMF title for you?
Say it again, my brother. I didn't hear that last part.
Yeah. What is the significance of the BMF title for you?
The signature, you said? Oh, significance. I'm sorry.
The significance, the importance. Yeah.
I didn't say this, you know. The president did. The world is saying it. The whole company of the UFC is saying it. The winner of this, which is me, is the baddest motherfucker they've ever seen in their roster in the years in the other years of the company running, the history of the company. So shit. I mean, I don't think I could elaborate on that anymore. I'm the baddest motherfucker there was, you know, with this belt. You know. That's what it says on the belt, BMF. I mean, sheesh.
Thanks so much for taking the time, and best of luck for your fight this weekend.
Appreciate it, man. Big shout out to India, man.
Thanks. We really appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
And our next question is from Simon Samano with MMA Junkie.
Hey, Mr. Masvidal, thanks a lot for the time. You know, earlier this year, back in January, you were on MMA Junkie Radio, and you were lamenting a missed opportunity to be able to fight Nick Diaz, who you were linked to just before that. Can you sort of talk about just how crazy it is to think that you go from January, you know, lamenting an opportunity to fight Nick, to now you and Nate, his younger brother, reaching this ultimate moment in your guys' careers?
Yeah, it's amazing, man. I remember at the moment I was a little heartbroken because I had stepped away from the sport for a year. I came back and obviously I'm excited. I'm like a kid in a Christmas store. The same way when Nate called me out that Nick in my fight is going to materialize. So when that doesn't happen, you know, I was devastated. Anxiety took over as well, and I went back to my eating ways. But I was able to get a call shortly after saying that I'd be fighting Till. So it was a good thing, you know. I went from one big fight to another big fight, and that's what kept me in line, you know. And then the big fights have just kept rolling in, you know. So it's just an example to everybody out there listening. Zero in on your goals, just focus on what you got to do and get it done.
One of the things that you said in that interview on MMA Junkie Radio was you specifically said, quote, "Damn, I miss fighting so much." I mean, what was your mindset in that time? Like, were you in a period of depression? Were you down because, you know, you were away from fighting for so long? Like, where were you at in your head at that point?
I was coming off 2 losses, and I was in the darkest of the dark places I've been to, and I get into some dark places from time to time. So I slowly but surely started coming out, you know, and when the person that came out of that dark place is not the person that went into that dark place, you know, that person is no longer with us. That old game bred. You know, the new one here is just ready to go. He was missing fighting. He also reminded and remembered how much fighting is him. You know, it's in my DNA from everything I've done from my childhood to now. It's just who I am, you know. But you get a little dull being at the office all day long, 9 to 5, constantly clocking in. You get bored of that computer or that chair. You need to just step back for a little bit and see the bigger picture. And I was able to do that, get my mind right, and here I am.
And then the one thing I wanted to ask as well is, you know, before you got booked against Darren Till, I think when we found out that you were getting booked against Darren Till, I think a lot of people may have looked at it as, okay, this is set up in such a way that Darren Till can bounce back against Masvidal coming off this long layoff, and he's got name value, et cetera, et cetera. I'm assuming maybe that was something. Was that something that went through your mind, that you thought that maybe the UFC was trying to set up Darren Till with a comeback against you?
Man, I wanna say you're a mind reader. Huh? Maybe you know somebody, huh? But yeah, in all honesty, maybe they were, maybe they weren't. me, I was just licking my chops, man. Like, man, I can't believe they're gonna give me this dude because I know that they've been pushing him real hard, you know. And that kind of, in a way, was like, man, I beat that dude Cowboy too. I beat him first, and I didn't get the same push that he got after the Cowboy fight, you know. So I was like, I want to fight this dude. I want to hurt him. It's not that I dislike him on a personal level, nothing like that. I think the kid's cool, but I just wanted to scrap, man. And I know coming back, me having lost to Thompson, him having beat Thompson for a fact, from the betting odds to the UFC, that was the guy. You could tell on that whole, I was the main event as well on that thing. It was me and him, and they barely showed any clips of me. They didn't even send a camera crew out for me, to tell you the truth. They didn't do anything to promote me, to promote who Gamebird is. And it was cool, you know. The UFC had to learn the hard way, you know. And I'm glad to teach the UFC lessons, life lessons, like, hey, don't ever underestimate me. And I definitely just wanted to get in there, you know. And also, Till was having a problem getting opponents. I was like, let's go, man. What's all this bullshit about? I'm ready to dance. You want to go? Let's go.
And then the last thing, I guess, playing off that is, it's safe to say then that you take a lot of pride in the fact that you have grabbed this opportunity by the horns and made the most of it, correct? Nothing was handed.
Damn right. Damn, I couldn't have said it better. Damn fucking right, man. Since I came back, I've seen everything that was going to unfold and unravel. I looked at the whole landscape. I looked at number 1 through number 10, and I said, man, I'm gonna have a field day if they let me back in here. If they don't stop me from fighting this year, I'm gonna hurt a lot of feelings, and that's all I've been doing, man. I'm telling you, this year was big. Next year's gonna be bigger.
Thanks. Appreciate the time, man.
Yes, sir.
And I'd like to turn the conference back over to Chris Costello for any additional remarks.
Made me work. Use brain power. 34 minutes of answering questions. I try to take time. Try to take the first time we do this, so first time I do it.
Thanks, everyone. I want to thank everybody for joining today's call. Jorge Masvidal. Media, please stay on the line while we dial in Nate.
Turn things back over to Chris Costello.
Okay, gang, Nate is on the line. We are good to go. Leanne, we can open up for questions.
And as a reminder, if you would like to ask a question, please press star 1 on your telephone keypad. And we'll take our first question from Damon Martin with MMAfighting.com.
Hey, Nate, thanks for taking the time. Let me start with the obvious question, which was the insanity last week. You released a statement saying you were dropping out of the fight. 24 hours later, you were exonerated by USADA. Can you kind of give me your perspective on how this whole thing played out, and were you happy with the end result?
One more time, I'm sorry.
Obviously, last week was kind of insane. You put out the statement saying you were dropping out of the fight, and then 24 hours later, you get exonerated. Can you kind of give me your perspective on how this whole thing played out, and were you happy with the end result?
Yeah, no, I wasn't happy about any of it, actually. I think that it was all just a big old bunch of bullshit, so I just wanted to not be a part of the big old fucking secret. So I think the thing about people on steroids is that people on steroids don't talk about steroids out loud. And I'm like, if we're gonna have to get down to the point, let's get down to the point. I'm not gonna hold a secret and figure it out afterwards. We need to get this out the way because I got shit I gotta put my mind on. And if we gotta cancel the fight for that, that's what we're gonna have to do. But let's get that shit out the way because that's whack. So I think it was all. I thought it was all made up and a bunch of bullshit anyway. So. Yeah, it's behind, so now we can move on.
Yeah. How quickly, did they call you, and did you tell them right away you were back in the fight when they said you were cleared? How did that play out? Because they put out the statement, but we never heard from you as far as you officially being back in the fight. And were you happy with that in terms of jumping right back in, or kind of how was your mindset when they called you and said, hey, you're cleared and good to go?
Well, I knew I was clear and good to go anyway, so I was like, hey, fix it. It's fucking, you guys gonna make up the bullshit eventually, so let's just get it cleared the fuck up right now, and then you guys clear it up, and I'm gonna be on fair ground. I ain't gonna be on no after the fight, this is why he won or lost type of shit. I ain't playing that shit. You know what I'm saying? So it's gonna be on fair ground. People come to train in my gym all the time, and if we get training and they're looking tired and I'm fucking if they're looking all tired and worn out, I'm gonna be like, I'm gonna train for a little while. You go get some water, rest up, and then we're gonna train. Because when I win the exchange of the training, I don't need no excuses. You know what I'm saying? I want to be on fair ground. So if you guys are gonna play me like there's any type of cheating or any bullshit going on, I'm gonna clear that up right now, or I'm not involved, because I don't want to have no excuses for winning or losing. I just want it to be a fair fight like it should be, and I've seen other people get in trouble for this type of thing before, and they keep a big old secret because they call and they're like, let's keep this on the low, and we don't need anybody because we might ruin the show. I'm like, no, there is no fucking show if we're not gonna do it right. So let's make it happen right. And in a second, I tell them it's all of a sudden right is clear. So it's a big old it's kind of funny to me, the whole situation. So I'm gonna leave it behind me, and I'm done with all that shit now. But if they want to call me on that kind of shit again, we can test every day for the rest of my life, because I've been taking all the same shit I've been taking for the last five years and year and a half, and don't try to play me, because I ain't playing back.
At the end of the day, Nate, you have Jorge Masvidal coming up, 5 days away. How was your focus in terms of going through this? I mean, did you just stay in preparation? Did anything change in terms of your mental mindset going into the fight, or are you as ready as you've ever been?
Yeah, no, like I'm saying, they try to do this, they try to do that, and I'm like, all right, well then this is done, clear it up, because if it's not clear, I quit right now. So they cleared it up, and it was just a little half a speed bump I wasn't even worried about. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, it's gonna be their loss if they fucking keep trying to play me. So it was like a half a second that I was fucking not even sweating.
Yeah. You've obviously been involved in big fights throughout your career, Nate, but do you feel like this was the perfect storm for a fight like this? Creating the BMF title, calling out Jorge after you beat Anthony Pettis. Do you feel like this was just the perfect time and the perfect place for a fight of this magnitude?
I don't think it's ever going to be the perfect time or perfect place. It's just time when it's time. You know what I'm saying? When shit happens, it happens, I believe, and it's just what's happening.
Last question, Nate. What do you make of the BMF title? Is that something kind of cool to you? Do you kind of get a laugh out of that? Like, what did you think about literally a 50,000 title being created for the winner of this fight?
I was just thinking about what it was, and I spit it on the main stage because that's what it was, and I believe that everybody felt that because it's a real story, and then no one's even gonna think about it until you tell them. And that's what it is. You know, we used to watch me and my brother just as kids. He'll be showing me Royce Gracie taking out everybody in the UFC, and we'd be like, this is the baddest motherfucker right here. This is the baddest motherfucker. And then Mike Tyson whipping everybody's ass all over the place for years. And somebody says, who's the best boxer? You're like, Mike Tyson's the baddest motherfucker. Who you think is? And then you got Hickson Gracie doing his thing in Japan and the best one in the family. And then somebody's like, who's this? And you're like, that's the baddest motherfucker right there. So that's the best fighter there is. You know, pound for pound, the GOAT type of shit. And so that's how I felt about the whole fight game. That's why I ain't been around for 3 years, because no one's even recognizing that or paying attention. So I'm like, well, I'm going to have to go tell them. And then so when I tell them what's what, and then Jorge, on the other hand, is also, he's been around as long as me. He's been in real fights. He's been a real fighter and said who he is the whole time. And that's the baddest motherfucking shit that there is. So call it how I see it, and everybody else felt the same way. So that's what it is. You know, this is for the best fighter in the baddest motherfucker, man, the best fighter in the whole game. So, and you know, my brother's not in the game right now, so I'm gonna go and take over that position until he's back in.
Thanks, Nate.
Yeah.
And we'll take our next question from Mark Raimondi with ESPN.
Hey, Nate, thank you for doing this, man.
Yo, what's up?
When was the first time you heard from USADA about this whole thing? I know you tweeted on Thursday, but how much before that did they tell you what was going on?
You got it, Mark. Your crew channel. Hi, man. Thank you. Have a good one. Thank you. How long before I said something? That's what I'm saying, dude. I like a day before. And then first of all, it was a couple days before, and they were actually like 4 days before. And then they told me, and I started laughing, like, yeah, all right. And they're like, you got to stop taking all your supplements. And then, and I was like, okay, yeah, cool. I'm like, look, dude, on the real, I just took a recovery week. I just took it easy a little bit because I was overworking from the last fight, the Pettis fight. I just went straight to it. I was like, okay, guns blazing, we still going. I went home and got back on action before they even announced fight. I knew I could feel it was still on. I didn't know when or where. I took a few weeks to where I was like at the beach and shit, but I was still working out. And then I was like, man, I need to take a recovery week. I'm working. So I took it easy. And then when they started telling me that, I was like, shit, if anything, motherfucker, I'm recovered and I powered up. So I might be up, you know what I'm saying? I might be up on my testosterone or some shit. Who knows? I kind of laughed at it. Like, well, that's crazy. I didn't even ask details. They just said someone's positive. I was like, yeah, all I can think of is that I'm just harder because I took it easy. And so I did not stop taking any supplements. I did not stop doing anything that I do. I just kept on keeping on. I doubled up on supplements. And I got all raw, all vegan, all garden life. I mean, all fucking just plant-based shit. And I just kept going. And then the next test came in there, and I'm like, what's this one say? Like, laughing. And they're like, oh, this one you're, like, testing higher. I'm like, okay, you guys are fucking with me now. So I kept doing what I was doing. I was like, they got to retest or check their shit. Something's wrong. So with their shit. And you guys over here trying to stress me out when I got to fight. This ain't fair grounds right here. This ain't fair grounds for me. You're over here sweating me about this. So how about the fight fucking off? And let's let UFC and Masvidal and all these motherfuckers sweat because I you know what I'm saying? I don't give a fuck about talking about steroids. You know what I'm saying? If you're on steroids, you don't want to talk about steroids. I've been around motherfuckers on steroids, and you start talking about steroids, they start looking the other direction and shit. You know what I'm saying? So I test all year. You know what I'm saying?
And did you
as
have
a matter
to
of
send,
fact, from here on, what's that?
Did you have to send USADA like your supplements that you were taking?
Yeah, but I wasn't gonna do that. I'm like, what the fuck are you gonna say? I'm like, there's too many supplements that I take. It's like, what you got my fucking probiotics and my vitamin B, C, fucking magnesium, acidophilus. Dude, it just goes on for this. My protein. I'm like, take all this shit. You're gonna take a bunch. So they took in fucking whatever. Now they're coming back. Okay, you're good. I'm like, oh, I'm good now. This is all just made up. They had it out for my brother for a long time. You know what I'm saying? They had it out for me for a long time. That as soon as they could get me out, they could. As soon as they could get them out, they could. So I don't believe a second of any of it. You know what I'm saying? It's like
you said
you're gonna put. Let's hear it.
You said last week in the tweet that someone told you to keep quiet and not say anything until after the fight. Who told you that?
That was the biggest thing. That was the biggest thing. Yeah, I'm not trying to throw nobody under the rug though like that. It was just a big secret, and it was shady, and it sounded like some shit that people on steroids are involved in. You know what I'm saying? And I didn't feel comfortable with that. So I'm like, let's just put it on the table then, because I'm not about to be. If you told me right now that I was going to test positive for some shit and I was going to freak out and go buck wild, then I don't even want to fight, because it's not, you know, it's only cheating if you jump in under the influence of that shit, right? So I'm like, well, let's just say I did accidentally take some shit, which I didn't. Let's just say I did though. Well then, let's just fucking fight in a couple months when the shit wears off. You know what I'm saying? I have no problem with that. I don't care if it ruined your show. You ain't ruined my whole legacy. You know, or my whole, you know what I'm saying? All I believe is that in the whole game is that, you know what I'm saying? I'm all natural. It's like if we was cavemen, I'd be the hardest caveman out there. You know what I'm saying? You got to strive for it. You got to do it all by yourself. You got to live on your own. You got to hunt your own food, and you got to get it all by yourself. I'm a soldier. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna be over here taking no cheat shit. And I'm okay. On the real, they've been testing for years, and everybody I'm fighting. I mean, they've been cheating for years. Everybody I've been fighting on steroids. But I mean, most of the people. I don't want to diss everybody, but most of the people in the UFC, champion or not champion, they're all on fucking steroids, and they're gonna pass their test, and they know how to pass their test. I know, because I know all the motherfuckers, so they all know how to pass their test. And I'm like, okay, well, when the weed thing was illegal and they're trying to suspend my brother, might do. Why don't they just fucking let everybody do steroids? Why don't we just have fair game? Everybody do all the drugs they want. Let's fucking fight. I'm still gonna stick to my same nutrition plan.
Thanks,
That's
Nate. I
just
appreciate
my
it.
thoughts about that.
And we'll take our next question from Aaron Bronstetter with TSN.
Hey, Nate, how are you today?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm good, man. Nice to hear your voice. So when you found out about all of this information about the USADA thing, because you've been such an advocate for clean sport, did you think that there was some sort of frame job involved, that they were trying to make you look bad initially?
Of course.
Why do you think that they would do that with that kind of a big event like this at stake?
I think I shouldn't even get into the details, but every time after a fight, relationships change with the whole company. Every fight. You know what I'm saying? What if I win this fight? For one, I'm already the baddest motherfucker in the whole game. I made all this happen. So the title's already mine. And now what if I win this fight? They can't have a fucking real motherfucker like me owning the whole shit, being harder, because too many people going to hear it. You know what I'm saying? And I ain't trying to bust nobody out, but I feel like they need some type of leverage over me to keep me from being the fucking king of the whole shit. You know what I'm saying? They have been the whole time. They loopholed me out. As soon as I fucking fought Conor the second time, which I didn't lose, they loopholed me out the whole situation. Like I was, are you gonna fight your way back up? I'm like, nah. I'm still at the top. I'm gonna stay at the top. I'll come back when I feel like it. And look what happens when I do.
So to clarify, because you know that if you win this fight, your stock is going to go through the roof. You thought that because they had this whole thing, behind the scenes going on in terms of the drug test, that they would use that against.
I don't know. I don't want to get that deep about it. I ain't taking no shot. I ain't turning against nobody, but I don't feel like anybody's ever been on my side in this shit. As far as what I'm saying, I'm not the guy they ever wanted to be. So I don't know. It's confusing as hell to me, and it's hard to trust anyone in this.
Are you worried at all about the New York State Athletic Commission? I mean, they suspended T.J. Dillashaw because he was obviously taking something that wasn't an accidental ingestion. But are you at all worried about that particular drug test, or are they testing your samples now to make sure that you're clear?
They've been testing me the whole time, and they're going to test me the whole time, and I never stopped taking any supplements. So I don't know how anything went up or down. You know what I'm saying? All my same supplements, not to mention, they stole like $800 worth of supplements from me. I got all Whole Foods shit. It added up to a lot of money, you know what I'm saying? So, it's just crazy. They took all that from me. I had to go buy all new vitamins. I'm over here flying over on a plane. I'm feeling like shit. I'm like, I need my vitamins. I get the Whole Foods, and then I get all new shit. And same shit's going in that's been in, and my test went down or up. I don't believe the test either, straight up. If the tests were reliable, then everybody on the roster would be suspended. Most everybody. I'm not singling anybody out, but you know what I'm saying? Like, you guys do all the steroids you want. I'm going to smoke all the weed I want, and let's get this fight thing cracking.
Did they pinpoint exactly what the supplement was and tell you which one exactly to stop using?
Yeah, but I don't believe them anyway. It's just a whole bunch of natural shit I use, and then I don't know, conspiracy. It's a conspiracy.
One last thing I want to ask you. One of your training partners, AJ Agazarm, got into, a scuffle with another agent in MMA. Do you know what happened there?
No, I'm not aware of that. I don't know anything about that.
All right. Thanks, Nate. Have a good week.
All right. Thanks.
And our next question comes from Nolan Kind with MMA Junkie.
Hey, Nate. How's it going, my man?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well, man. Thanks for joining us. Throughout this whole call, you've made it clear, and throughout your whole career, that being a clean fighter is number one priority for you, is having that MO. And why is it that that's so important to you that you would, come out and try to clear the air beforehand and potentially risk, a fight that you're going to make millions? And why is that so important to you?
Yeah, because it ain't worth the millions if you're going to be cheating over it. You know what I'm saying? You got to sleep with that. You got to sleep with that. You know what I'm saying? And I know that what it was, that it was some bullshit. So I'm like, no, fix it. And if you don't fix it, then that's your bad. I'm out. You know what I'm saying? And I have all the confidence in the world about that. And that's what I'm saying about the people on steroids and the people who keep it a secret with whoever's trying to keep it a secret. It's like, why is it a secret if it's not true? You know what I'm saying? So I think that whole keeping it a secret to after the fight shit is just for everybody to make money, and it's fucking cheating. So I'm not going to be a part of that. I was just out of the game for 3 years for the reason being that we ain't been on the same page or the same team. So why am I going to be on the same page and the same team about making a cheat try to go down?
And obviously at the time, and maybe even a little bit now, you were frustrated with the whole situation. But do you feel like it's water under the bridge going forward, or do you still have a sour taste in your mouth from the whole thing?
No, I think it's funny that they all got busted for tripping. I don't give a fuck. It's all good. It's what it is. You know what I'm saying? I'd expect nothing less.
And my last question, Dana White has said that this BMF belt's going to be a one-time thing, that it's not going to be defended or anything like that. Going forward, do you think that this will be a belt that you would want to defend going forward, have some other matchups with potential other BMFs in the division?
Look, we're already the baddest motherfuckers in the whole game, and everybody knows that, you know what I'm saying? And everybody I fight from here on forward is going to be the best motherfucking fight you're going to see out of all the rest of the fights that have been happening. And they always are and always have been. and they ain't promoted it themselves, so I got to promote it myself, and look where it goes. So that just makes sense. And one-off, let me tell you something, 170, 185, 205, 155, or BMF title. Everybody wants the BMF title. Nobody want to be, you know what I'm saying? If you had the option, what title would you fight for? This is the best fighter in the game right here, so that's the one I'm fighting for. And it don't matter if it's a belt or what. It's any time you fight me, it's going to be the best motherfucking fight you're going to see with the best motherfucking fighters.
Appreciate the time, Nate. Thanks.
Yeah.
And we'll take our next question from Justin Barrasso with Sports Illustrated.
Thanks for the chance to connect. What do you respect most about Masvidal? And, based off how successful he was in his last fight, obviously against a very different opponent, do you think you anticipate he'll attempt a quick knockout like he did in that fight as well against you?
Yeah, I expect it all. I figure he might try to run out and take me out. I figure it might understand that I'm not as fucking lame as that, and might kind of come a different route. But I'm expecting it all. He's a strategic fighter, been around forever, and he's got that. You're not just there because you're there. You're not around that long and fought these fights because you're just some lucky guy. So I'm expecting a hard fight, the best fighter I've ever fought.
And thank you. And you're going in with that approach too. I like that. I mean, I know the belt is new, right? The BMF title, but again, I think for anybody who's followed your career, there's only one guy who could go in with that title entering this fight. Do you feel extra responsibility to live up to that title, or you already know who you are and you know what you're capable of, and people will see that on Saturday?
I think it's already set in stone. I'm the baddest motherfucker, and he's the runner-up, and we're the guys.
Thank you.
And I'd like to turn things back over to Chris Costello for any additional or closing remarks.
Thanks, Leanne. I want to thank Nate and everyone for joining today's call. Safe travels to all, and we'll see everyone this week in New York.
And that does conclude today's conference. Thank you for your participation. You may now disconnect.